Picture a landscape that tries its hardest to kill everything that lives in it. The ground is hard, packed dirt that feels more like concrete, baked by a sun that hangs in the sky like a burning eye. The air is dry, the kind of dry that cracks lips and sucks the moisture right out of the skin. Heat waves rise from the ground, making the scrub brush, and the rocks look like they are melting in the distance. This is the Badlands. It is a place of thorns, dust, and silence. But if you look closer, down at the ankle level, you will see that the silence is a lie. The ground is alive. It is a city, a bustling metropolis, of tunnels and chambers hidden right beneath the eye. Boots of anyone walking by. This is the domain of the ground. Squirrel, the protagonist of this story, is currently sitting on a mound of loose dirt, looking like a statue made of fur. The animal blends in perfectly with the beige and brown tones of the desert. To a human, this creature looks cute. It has big, dark eyes, small ears, and a tail that twitches with a nervous energy. It looks like it should be begging for peanuts in a park. But do not let the appearance fool you. This is not a park animal. This is a survivalist. This is a creature that has evolved in a war zone. Deep inside the tunnel system, just a few feet below the surface, lies the treasure. A chamber lined with dried grass holds a litter of pups. They are small, blind, and completely helpless. They are little nuggets of heat and scent, and in the wild, that translates to one thing: dinner. The parent on guard duty knows this. The vigilance is absolute. The animal stands on hind legs, scanning the horizon, checking the wind, listening to the vibrations in the earth. And then the signal comes. It is not a sound at first. It is a feeling, a subtle shifting of the sand, a heavy, sliding friction that sends a distinct tremor through the ground. The squirrel drops to all fours. The posture changes from relaxed observation to high alert tension. The tail begins to flag. It waves back and forth, pumping blood into the appendage, heating it up. It is a signal, a visual shout that says, "I see you." The threat emerges from behind a cluster of sagebrush. It is a masterpiece of lethal evolution. A rattlesnake. The reptile is thick, heavy with muscle, and covered in scales that form a diamond pattern of brown and cream. It moves with a terrifying grace, pouring itself over the rocks like liquid death. The head is triangular, broad at the back to house the venom glands. The tongue flicks out, tasting the air, picking up the heavy, sweet scent of the pups in the burrow. The snake is hungry. It has tracked this scent for a mile. It expects to slide down the hole, consume the helpless young, and curl up for a nap. It does not expect the welcoming committee. The squirrel does not retreat. In most encounters, the prey runs. The prey panics. But this rodent blocks the path to the burrow entrance. The parent stands between the monster and the nursery. The tail is whipping furiously now, kicking up dust. The squirrel chirps, a sharp, metallic sound that cuts through the hot air. It is a challenge. The snake stops. The cold, unblinking eyes lock onto the furry obstacle. The reptile coils, pulling the front third of the body into an S shape. This is the loading phase. The spring is compressed. The rattle at the end of the tail begins to buzz. It is a dry, buzzing sound, like seeds shaking in a paper pod. It is the sound of a ticking bomb. The standoff begins. The snake strikes. It happens faster than the blink of a human eye. One moment the snake is coiled. The next, the head is launching forward, mouth gaping open, fangs unfolding like switchblades. It is a blur of motion, designed to tag a moving target before the brain can even register the danger. But the squirrel is not waiting for the brain to register. The squirrel is operating on pure reflex. As the fangs slash through the air, the mammal is already gone. The squirrel performs a backward leap, a gravity-defying jump that clears the strike zone by a fraction of an inch. The snake's head hits the empty dust. Before the reptile can recoil, the squirrel counterattacks. This is where the dynamic changes. The squirrel lands and immediately lunges forward. It is not trying to kill the snake. It is trying to harass it. The sharp incisors nip at the snake's tail. It is a painful, annoying bite. The snake hisses, whipping the body around to strike again. The head lashes out, trying to catch the furry tormentor. The squirrel dodges left. The squirrel dodges right. It is like watching a professional boxer fight a drunk. The agility is mesmerizing. The rodent uses the tail as a distraction, waving it in the snake's face, forcing the predator to focus on the wrong target. When the snake lunges at the tail, the squirrel jumps over the strike, landing on the other side, kicking sand into the reptile's face. The dust cloud grows. The silence of the desert is broken by the angry buzzing of the rattle and the frantic scuffling of paws and scales. The snake is getting frustrated. This was supposed to be easy. It was supposed to be a stealth mission. Now, it is a street fight in the middle of the day. The heat is rising, and snakes do not like to overheat. The reptile is expending massive amounts of energy with every missed strike. The squirrel, however, seems to have an infinite supply of energy. The mammal is relentless. It closes the distance, feinting a charge, making the snake flinch. The parent knows that if the snake gets down the hole, it is game over. The line must be held here, on the surface. The snake tries a different tactic. It tries to glide past the squirrel, aiming for the dark opening of the tunnel. It ignores the pest and goes for the prize. The reaction from the parent is violent. The squirrel dives. It grabs the snake by the midsection, delivering a hard bite, then scrambling away before the head can whip around. The pain stops the snake in its tracks. The predator coils up tightly, defensive now, protecting the body. The hunter has become the hunted. The squirrel circles the coiled reptile, stomping the feet, chattering loudly. The psychological pressure is immense. The squirrel is saying, "You are not welcome. You are not safe here." The snake strikes again, a desperate, wide-mouthed lunge. The squirrel backflips, literally throwing the body into the air and twisting, landing 3 feet away. The reflex speed is almost supernatural. The venom in those fangs could kill the squirrel in minutes, melting the tissues and stopping the heart. One mistake, one slip in the loose dirt, and the story ends. The stakes are absolute, but the squirrel does not slip. The evolutionary arms race has been running for millions of years. The snake developed venom. The squirrel developed speed. And today, speed is winning. The snake is tiring. The mouth hangs open slightly, panting. The heat is becoming a problem. The constant motion is draining the reserves. The buzzing of the rattle slows down. The reptile realizes the calculation is wrong. The cost of this meal is too high. It is too much work, too much pain, and too much risk. Slowly, the snake begins to back away. It keeps the head facing the squirrel, retreating inch by inch. It is admitting defeat. The predator slides backward, moving away from the burrow entrance, moving back toward the safety of the sagebrush. The squirrel does not relax. The parent follows the snake, escorting it off the property. Every time the snake pauses, the squirrel lunges, forcing the retreat to continue. Keep moving. The rodent chases the lethal intruder all the way to the edge of the territory, past the rocks and out into the open desert. Finally, the snake turns and slithers away, disappearing into a crack in the rocks, looking for an easier target. Perhaps a lizard or a mouse that doesn't know kung fu. The threat dissolves into the heat haze. The squirrel stands on the boundary line. The chest is heaving, the heart beating like a jackhammer. The fur is dusted with the sand of the battle. The tail still twitches, the adrenaline slowly fading from the system. The parent watches until the snake is completely gone, until the smell of the reptile fades from the air. Then, the posture softens. The warrior goes back to being a guardian. The animal turns and scampers back to the mound. It pauses at the entrance to the burrow, giving one last look at the horizon. The world is dangerous. The desert is cruel. But today, the fortress held. The squirrel dives down into the cool darkness of the tunnel. Down in the nesting chamber, the pups are still sleeping, curled up in a warm pile, completely unaware that death knocked on the door and the parent answered with a flurry of paws and teeth. Above ground, the wind picks up, smoothing over the disturbed dirt, erasing the tracks of the struggle. The sun continues to bake the earth. A hawk screams in the distance. The cycle continues. But for now, the burrow is safe, protected by a furry bolt of lightning that refused to back down. It is a reminder that in the wild, size does not measure courage, and sometimes, the fluffy creature eating seeds is the toughest fighter on the block.